Welcome to CyberCEO, wherein we talk about how our cyberbackers helped our cyber CEOs take their businesses to the next level. CyberCEO is powered by Cyberbacker, the world's leading provider of admin support services from anywhere in the world to anyone in the world. Please visit our website www.cyberbacker.com for more details. All right, another awesome day here at Cyberbacker. My name is Jello. We're back with another episode of CyberCEO. And of course, we have a very special guest on the show right now. Mike, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing wonderful. Thank you very much for asking and for giving us your time. I know you're very, very busy. Now, to kick things off, to let you know, we have a lot of listeners who are also business owners just like you. So I need your help. Can you introduce yourself to our audience? Maybe starting off with, what is your role in the business, Mike?
So my name is Michael Hyde. I'm with Keller Williams, Western Montana, located in Missoula, Montana in the Bitterroot Valley. I'm a rainmaker, so I run a team. I'm the office center MCTT, so I help a lot of agents onboarding into our systems, into our command, and I'm a labs advisor with KW, so I get a demo and try a lot of the new systems that are coming out before they actually roll out, so we're able to put our hands on them and just kind of familiarize ourselves and our teams with what's coming out next from KWRI.
Okay, so you have a lot of hats to wear on a daily basis. So I'm assuming you're always busy every day.
Yes, always busy, and I like to have fun too. So always looking for ways to leverage my time out so I can accomplish more and still have time to have a family and a life.
Of course, that's very important to balance, right? Now, how did you learn about Cyberbacker? I'm curious to know. Did you see us on social media, or did someone tell you about us?
You know, I network with a lot of different agents with KW, and I've heard several agents say Cyberbacker, get a Cyberbacker. And then, you know, you hear coaches talk about VAs getting a virtual assistant. And so when I first heard about virtual assistants, I wasn't too keen on the idea because it didn't feel personal, and it didn't sound like you were always going to have the same virtual assistant. Mm-hmm. And so last year I was talking with my MAPS coach, and I was kind of expressing some of our challenges that we were having, which were people challenges and not being able to find the right people that we were wanting to hire. And so then we ended up hiring the wrong people and paying them more money than they really were producing, right? Because we were having to train them and not retain them. And so it was just like this every 90 to 120 day cycle of realizing you made the wrong hire and having to try and unwind this hire, which is awkward and not very fun. Yeah. And at the same time, you know, our clients are experiencing challenges because of it. And so it was a challenging experience. And my MAPS coach was like, dude, you should hire or interview a Cyberbacker. And I was like, tell me more. And he's like, well, you see Rosella on the Zoom meeting, she's our Cyberbacker and she takes care of all this stuff for me. And I was like, shut up. I thought she was in your office. And so as I kind of learned more about what Cyberbacker was and what you're able to do with a Cyberbacker, my perception started to change until we hit our breaking point in November, and our transaction coordinator and our marketing person ended up no longer being on our team. And at that point, I realized how many things that the transaction coordinator was actually doing. And I was like, oh man, I need to hire someone tomorrow. And so I went through my notes and I looked up Cyberbacker because I had talked with you guys, you know, a few weeks before that, and called up, was like, get me a backer, let's do it. And so I didn't know what was going to happen or what it was going to look like. However, within 72 hours of that call, I was interviewing some very qualified candidates for the role. And within probably 5 days of that call, we had our first Cyberbacker hired and into training. And so we actually just hit our 90 days last week with our first Cyberbacker, and we now have 2 Cyberbackers, and we're getting ready to hire our 3rd in April. And through the process, I ended up acquiring the franchise for Cyberbacker for Montana.
Wow.
And so I'm all in at this point with, one, the support that you can get from Cyberbackers, and 2, the overall experience that I've had as a business owner just in the training and onboarding process. It's been probably one of the most positive experiences I've had in the hiring and training arena in the last 6 years that I've been doing real estate.
Gosh. So from starting to being not being that keen on believing in virtual leverage, now you're going to have 3 Cyberbackers and your own franchise. Is that right?
Yep.
Gosh. Imagine how times change, right?
Well, what I realized in this process is that, like, what we're experiencing, a lot of business owners are experiencing. And a lot of business owners are doing the back end work that they're not trained or built to do. And they're doing it out of necessity, out of cost savings, out of not being able to find the right hire, all of that stuff. And what Cyberbacker does in the interview process, when they actually align you with your backers that you're going to interview, is they find you backers that are qualified for the position that you're hiring, and they make sure they have the personality profile to match that job. And that's what's really going to give you long-term retention, is that they're actually going to enjoy doing the task that you're assigning to them, because that's their personality profile. And so when I look at what's happening around us, you have a lot of business owners that are either not making the hire because they can't find the hire, or they're hiring the wrong people to do the job. And they might be able to do the job, but their personality profile doesn't match it. And so long-term, they're not going to be happy. And that's where you end up sinking your ships. And so from what I can tell, like looking forward, what I would tell anyone that's in our position, like, should I hire a Cyberbacker? If you're even asking yourself that question, then you deserve to at least do the interview process and really see what that feels like. Because I can tell you right now, once you go through the interview process, you haven't experienced anything like that. Like, I've never been able to interview one qualified person in less than 72 hours of saying, hey, I need help, let alone 4 or 5 qualified workforce. And so I'm just like, that being said, go through the process of at least interviewing. And if that doesn't at least get your wheels turning, I don't know what would.
Yes, I would agree with you there. You mentioned earlier that you're not really gonna get the best results from a person who would love to do phone calls to doing admin work, and vice versa, right? An admin doing phone calls, that won't work. So the match really has to be there, and Cyberbacker got that covered for you, of course. Now, I want to know more about your Cyberbackers, Mike. Can you tell me something about them? Let's say personality-wise for both.
Well, I can tell you, 𝗙𝗪𝗪, our transaction coordinator, we've been with her for 90 days now. There has not been one time, and I just got done talking to her 20 minutes ago, and I said this exact thing when I got off the Zoom with her. I go, there's not been one time that I've spoken to anybody at Cyberbacker via Zoom, phone call, that I have not left with a smile on my face and in a positive mood. I can't say that for a lot of people that I've worked with, depending on the conversation on how I felt afterwards. So one, very, very energetic, very cheerful, and always positive when we're having communication. So I'd say, first off, I appreciate that. Second, 𝗙𝗪𝗪 checks in with me every morning at 7:55 a.m. every day, consistently. I never have to say, I wonder what 𝗙𝗪𝗪 is doing. On top of that, I get our end of the day report from her every day at 5. It shows everything that she's done throughout the day. We're texting. If I need something, I can text her, I can call her. And if I want to really have a face-to-face with her, I can just text her to send me a link. And within 60 seconds, her and I are in a Zoom conversation, screen sharing. And it's like, it's been easier to train her and work with her, and she's, across the ocean, than it's been for us with having the wrong hires in-house.
That's, again, we are going back to that point. It's very important to find that match, not just in terms of personality between you and your cyberbacker, but of course, there's skills to the tasks that you are going to leverage to them, right? Yes. Now, I'd like to know more about your growth plan for your cyberbackers because, of course, they're going to continue growing. It's only fairly new of a partnership. So what are some of the new things that you're planning to let them do in the future for the business?
Well, our first goal for us, because we're in real estate, and one of our biggest leverage pieces is transaction coordinating. So getting 𝗙𝗪𝗪𝗔𝗪𝗪 into that role and getting her confident with the process and our systems. Once we had her in a good spot, we hired our second backer, Faith, and Faith's role is marketing. And so that being said, she's taking care of everything from graphic design, social media, web design, and everything in between. And so she's really taking control of our marketing wheelhouse now. And so now that we have transaction coordinating and we have our marketing piece in place, our next backer that we're going to hire in April is going to be our database backer. And that backer's full-time job is going to be to just manage our database and go through our database like a fine-tooth comb and make sure that every person that's in our database is 100% and being communicated with and really nurturing our return and investment in our database versus going out and finding new leads. So we'll have transaction coordinating, we'll have marketing, we'll have the contact management backers all in place. And then after we have all three of them in place, the next backer we would hire would be probably a secondary transaction assistant for the original transaction coordinator, because as we keep growing, we're going to have more transactions, and that's where you really need support. So we'll definitely probably plug one more in there. And then I've been hearing chatter about Cyberbacker Prime, and I really like the way that sounds. And so honestly, like before I met Cyberbackers, with my coach, I have a MAPS coach, Jamie Cox, and what we were looking at our growth plan, we were needing to find at least 10 more people to plug into our business in order for us to get where we want to be in the next 5 years. And that was very daunting when I couldn't make one hire, let alone I got to go find 10. And after plugging into Cyberbacker, I feel like we'll be able to do that in half or even less time. And hiring 10 doesn't seem very daunting at all, because like I know that if I tell you guys, hey, I need to hire someone, that within 72 hours, I'm going to have 4 or 5 great candidates to interview. And it basically streamlines the interviewing and the hiring process. Because here in Montana, if I wanted to hire someone for any of the roles I just fired off, I put an ad in the paper, put it on Facebook, and I may get 1 to 5 candidates that would come in, and none of them would have the skills or the personality profile to match the position. So if I hired any one of them out of desperation, all I would be doing is hiring the wrong person to do the wrong job. And then at a certain point, you'd have to let them go. And then that's not a fun experience either.
Yes, of course. Again, you just have to hire slow and fire fast, as what they mentioned before, right? Because of course, again, the match is very important. Again, not just with the skills, but also personality profiles with you and the person you're going to hire. Now, my next question is a bit tough, Mike. All right. Of course, in every partnership, there could be, let's say, challenges, also growth opportunities. So what have been some of the challenges or growth opportunities that you've had working with Cyberbacker?
Working with Cyberbacker, I haven't hit a lot of challenges. I would say, especially with the roles that we're plugging them into, some of it you need time on the job to familiarize yourself with other people's systems. And in like the transaction management arena, there's several different title companies, banks, cross agents that a backer has to familiarize themselves with. And that doesn't happen overnight. And so what I've appreciated about that process is 𝗙𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪 is willing to improve her skill set wherever she can. And so she's always asking for feedback so that we can help her grow. And then the Cyberbacker Hub is always reaching out, letting us know like, hey, we reviewed with the backer, and this is some challenges that they're experiencing, and this is what we're going to do to help them fix that. And so knowing that our backers are always willing to improve and train, and that knowing that Cyberbacker Hub is always reviewing and willing to train, it really makes you feel confident in the process. So not a lot of challenges at this point, and opportunity, a lot of opportunity. Like I mentioned earlier, we just stepped in and brought in the Montana franchise for Cyberbacker. So there's a lot of opportunity for us to help other business owners, not just in real estate, just business owners in general that are like struggling with back-end support. I've been in the personal business arena since I was 17, and this has been one of the pieces that we've always experienced, is getting the right back-end support to plug in and do the right things. And so I know that the real estate industry is definitely in need of backers. Yes. And in general, I believe a lot of business owners that are running their business full time and then having to work on the back end of it nights and weekends, and they're not designed to do it. And so they're not going to succeed doing the job that they shouldn't be doing. And so a lot of opportunity for us to help other people grow as business owners, and just really put people in connection with the right people to help them succeed at a high level.
Yes, that's going to be exciting again, especially the franchise. Again, helping other business owners with their own cyberbackers to help their businesses grow too. That would also help your business grow, right?
Yep.
Yes. Now, I have one last question. So I mentioned earlier, we have a lot of business owners who are listening. So what piece of advice would you be able to give them when they're going through that first phase of being partnered with their own cyberbacker?
Well, I think it doesn't matter what business you're in. If you're hiring a cyberbacker or you're hiring anyone, you have to get your knowledge, your systems out of your head and onto paper. It starts at cultivate and it ends at close. It doesn't matter what business you're running. You got leads coming in. You got to convert them. You got to nurture them. You got to get them to appointments. You got to get them to the closing table. And then you got to follow up with them and rinse and repeat. And so as a business owner, you need to get your experience, whether it be 1 year or 30, you need to get it out of your mind and into a spreadsheet so that you can train your backer per section, because you can't expect someone to know what they don't know and to know what you know without getting what you know out of you and into paper. And once you get your systems onto paper, then your backer can really step in and have a plan to execute off of. And then depending on where you put your actual systems at, like what platform you plug it into, whether it be Command, Brevity, whatever CRM or database management system you're using, as long as it's a systemizable system where you can set tasks to repeat, smart plans, etc., then you can really rely on the systems doing the bulk of the reminding, and then the backers go through and execute. And then you can focus on directing the workflow and being a business owner.
So again, they're putting everything on paper, making sure that everything is clear to your cyberbacker, especially systems, tasks, everything on paper, so that they know what they're going to do, how they're going to do it, and why they're going to do it, right?
Email templates. So yeah. Gmail, having all your email templates. So if a step is to send this email, the email template's there for them to execute. Make it easy. And then you can scale out your business and continue to watch it grow, versus staying in a stagnant spot, doing the same thing, which might be not hiring anyone or continuing to hire the wrong people. And there's nothing more expensive than hiring the wrong person for a job, because you're paying to train them, you're paying W-2s, workman comp, and all of this stuff. And then if you let them go past their 90 days, firing someone isn't just as simple as firing them. And so when you look at the convenience that you have with bringing in cyberbackers, it eliminates all of that. And you can focus on doing what you do best, which is running your business and then leveraging stuff out to qualify people that can actually get it done.
Yes, I agree with you there. Again, hiring the wrong people takes a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of money too. So talking about your we've been talking about your cyberbackers for a while now. So I'd like to let you know, I forgot to tell you because they're listening to us right now, both your cyberbackers. So would you want to give them a quick shout out or any messages you'd like to give out to them on the show?
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to 𝗙𝗪𝗏. Let her know she's just doing a phenomenal job, and we're so happy to have her past her 90 days. And then Faith, she's our marketing backer. I don't work hands-on with her as much because our director of operations is usually in the day-to-day communication with Faith. However, I just like her to know that she's doing a great job as well. Our marketing has never looked better. She's redone all of our websites, our marketing pages, our graphics, stuff that we've had on to-do lists for a year or two. She's executed and put out for us. And again, it's just been a phenomenal experience working with both of them.
We are very, very excited to see where this partnership would be in the next few months and, of course, the years to come. Mike, thank you very much for being on the show today.
Yeah, thanks for having us. You guys have a great day.
Thank you for listening to our daily dose of CyberCEO. Stay tuned to know more about how Cyberbacker creates a difference in this digital time and age. You can visit our website www.cyberbacker.com and follow our social media pages on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Spotify.